The developers of Battlefield clearly didn't want there to be a ton of clone guns in their game, and by that I mean I don't think they wanted a ton of guns that have the same stats of other guns. So they got a little unique with some of their firearms, and it shows in this episode that if you tweak a gun too much, it goes from being interesting to irrelevant. So hope you guys enjoy the video. I can't wait to have a bunch of pissed off people like, of course it's not good, you don't have any attachments. Well, by that logic, I could put on a bad attachment and say the gun is worse, or put on good attachments and say the gun is good, but the point is, how does it stand on its own? Hey there, this is the One Boom, and welcome to the search for the worst weapon in FPS history. Today's episode takes us to Battlefield 4, where we are going to be looking at the QBU-88 DMR. The problem with this weapon is not in its damage or range or rate of fire. The problem with this weapon lies in the fact that it has a 10-round magazine, plus one in the chamber, giving you 11 rounds after a reload, the god-awful iron sights, and how fast you reload those 10 rounds. This DMR reminds me of a gun from Battlefield 1 without the snappy reload times. It fires fast, it's spammable, has a low magazine, but you don't have that nice snappy reload that you get with weapons in Battlefield 1. And these sights are god-fucking awful. These are the worst iron sights. Okay, I know the first episode was about the SMG with the worst iron sights, the Uzi from the original Black Ops, but this might top it because this is a DMR, something that relies on accuracy. Obviously, you're supposed to put a scope or a sight on it, but for the sake of this series, we always look at the guns naked, and if I was to look at almost any of the other DMRs in Battlefield 4, they all have better, more usable iron sights. Especially the SKS and the SVD. This weapon is always going to be a 3-shot kill, which is a really cool thing, meaning if you're accurate and using the weapon properly, you could get 3 kills per magazine. And to be honest, with the right setup, it can be a pretty consistent killer. But the reason I decided to do a short episode on it, on the way to finding the worst gun in FPS history, is that it's irrelevant. There's so many DMRs in Battlefield 4 that outperform it in one way or another, or in multiple ways. The MK11 Mod 0, the SKS, the SVD, the RFB, they are all better weapons than this. They have better range, magazine sizes, better iron sights, better recoil. They could have done something cool with this rifle by giving it really good iron sights and really good accuracy and a really consistent time to kill, but then have the magazine only be 5 or 10 rounds. They could have done something interesting with it. People that say that when you have more guns, they're just going to be copies of each other and things aren't going to be balanced. Yeah, I guess sometimes, but I also think it's up to the developers to do something interesting with the weapons on offer. I feel like they tried to do something interesting with this, but it just didn't pan out. They didn't want it to be a clone of a different DMR, that's for certain, and instead they just kind of made it irrelevant. They could have made it very interesting. They could have made it something very unique. I'd like to know who at DICE makes some of the iron sights in this game though. I know that they just assume you're going to use an optic, and some iron sights are clunky because of authenticity. But I don't understand the use of rectangular middle blades. The thing that you're supposed to put on your opponent should not be as wide as your opponent. At mid-range, you completely lose people in these sights, especially once you start firing. Under the rules of the search for the worst gun in FPS history, going to Battlefield 4 is a little bit of a cheat because yes, when you don't have attachments on guns in Battlefield 4 or 3, they just don't perform as well. My thinking though is in Battlefield 4, I love a lot of the DMRs naked. You can run most of the DMRs naked with no issues. They're really fun to use that way. And I even had a little bit of fun using this gun. I had better gameplay, but it got corrupted because my Elgato decided to shit out. But even in this terrible game, I managed to have a little bit of fun with it. It's an interesting gun to use. I recommend trying it out. It just feels irrelevant. It feels like they tried not to make a clone of other weapons, and in the process, they came out with something that just doesn't need to exist. But that's okay, DICE, you can't win them all. So, to quickly recap here, we have the Uzi with the terrible iron sights, we have a rifle that requires you to move to charge up its blast, an explosive sniper rifle that has to have a primer and a catalyst, and now an unfortunately irrelevant DMR. I look forward to going down this rabbit hole even further. The question is, what game do I go to next? I guess that's going to be up to me though. Thank you guys so much for watching. This episode is very short because I am pressed for time and my Elgato, like I said, it fucked up. Like, I kept reinstalling it and doing everything. I eventually just had to unplug it, restart the computer, plug it back in, uninstall the drivers, uninstall everything, unplug it, and then reinstall everything. It was a mess, and so I'm a little bit pressed for time, and I have an appointment to play with somebody else, so I'm gonna go do that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys liked the fact that I shortened that horribly long intro. And yeah, I'll see you when I see ya. Leave a like, comment. Are you good with this gun? Are you not good with this gun? Let me know. I'll see you when I see ya.